So we'll start out by talking specifically about some strategies for web writing. To begin with, the content itself. You want to keep content relevant wherever possible. I know everyone likes to, and this is specifically related to things like writing for blogs or writing for discussion posts. It's nice to talk about your dog or some related story that you think might be interesting to the class or something like that, but you want to keep the content relevant, because the idea with the web and with the way that it's formatted is that you give the main points and you let the user, kind of as like a choose your own adventure story, you let the reader decide where they want to go. Okay? So keep it relevant. Second, start with your conclusion. Okay? Global warming is man-made. If that's your conclusion, start there. Then let us decide and break down your argument sort of in reverse. All right? Third, short, concise paragraphs. Again, this plays into the idea of the scan and skim. People are scanning, they want to know, and as they're skimming down, paragraph 1 is clearly about that. Paragraph 2 begins the same way, is clearly about this. You see, and as they move down, they're going to find the one that's relevant to them. Next, with web writing, you would have audience as a main feature. The thing about the audience of a web user is that you have to imagine an audience of a single user. Whereas here we have an audience of, no one can see you, so I'll say an audience of thousands. On the web, you have to imagine one person solitary in the basement at a computer, even if that's a bit of a cliche. That's what you got to imagine. And in that case, you have to think of, you are speaking to that person nearly in a one-to-one fashion. And that allows you to, that's why you want to be relevant, and you want them to be able to develop where they want to go with it. But it allows you to be a little bit more familiar, and it also means that you're going to have to work to develop an identity on the web in the way that you speak with the person, the way you imagine as a conversation. Second, imagine a single web session. In other words, can the user find what you want them to in one single session? This isn't like an essay where they can keep going back and referring to it. Obviously, they can do that, but the way most people are going to use a website, or if they're going to read the discussion board, they're going to read it once, and they're going to you want, after one reading, for them to have your conclusions, to get your main point, and to know if it's relevant to them. Right? Third is target your audience. I spoke about that a little bit before. Have an audience in mind. You know, this is a single user, but what are that single user, what are they likely going to want to get from the material you're providing? Make it as straightforward and easy to get to and easy to access as possible. But don't alienate potential visitors. And that's another way of saying, unlike a flyer that you know can only circulate as far as that flyer can be passed around, the web can go, a website can go absolutely anywhere. And the more that we globalize and the more these things travel, the more important it is that you can target, this is the audience that's going to get something from this, but anyone who visits here can get something from it. All right? Next, very important, use action words to direct the user. And that goes back to the idea of they don't want to stay with you the whole time planning a field. All right? Give them a roadmap to where they want to go, and give them the action words that say, if you're interested in this, go here. To learn more about this, go here. Right? And that's the easiest way, using action words to direct the user, and also using those action words in your short paragraphs to make sure the reader knows where they are at any given moment. So remember the key takeaway, web users scan and skim. That is their main approach. And you want to accommodate that without sacrificing the information you're trying to provide. Finally, web writing and format. So lists. Lists not so great in an essay, right? Not the best thing to use. Maybe in an outline. Lists are like gold online. That's because, again, the user's scanning and skimming. They want to go to that list and be able to see the key points, and just you pull them out for them, right? Keep the list short, 5 to 7 words per list item, no more than 5 to 7 items. You don't want to just take all of your information and put little bullet points in front of it. Imagine that as a list. That's, you know, keep your list short and to the point, with one idea per bullet point. Short sentences, short paragraphs, short. Keep it short. This is very different maybe from essay writing, where a complex sentence can do a lot. Here the idea is, can you boil down what you're trying to say into short sentences that are easily digestible and can be accessed quickly and remembered? Okay? And at the end here, we'll look at a couple of websites that do this particularly well. Include subheadings. All right? Again, essays tend to want to flow in terms of topic sentence to transition to the new topic sentence. Here we're talking about, no, go ahead and have the subheading, as many subheadings as possible. You're imagining what is essentially a really filled-in outline. Why? Because that's what's the easiest thing for someone who's scanning and skimming to go and find. All right? And finally, develop basic ideas through links. So some of you may ask, well, okay, it sounds to me like essays are really interesting and developed and complex with a lot of evidence, and web writing is just really simple and straightforward and doesn't get anywhere. Well, the answer is you want it to get places, but what you do is you use links, okay, instead of developing it all right there in front of them. Link to different key ideas, and when they click on that link, have a new page with more information, more detailed information. And then if they want to go and click on links there, they can get to even more detailed information. And that's what I mean by web writing is all about digging for oil. Going to that point in the process that you think, this is what I want to know about, and digging. If you think about how you use a website generally, it does follow this format. You know, if you want to find the academic calendar, you know, you don't want to read through a whole essay of every possible thing that you could know about Ivy Tech. What you want to do is double-click a link, and get to that calendar, right? You want to dig.